Hey you guys, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to begin to talk about the narcissistic mom. I know some time ago I said I was going to go through narcissism in family members, and I hadn't started yet, so I thought it would be great to just go ahead and start with the mom, all right? And we're going to call her Unstable Mable. For the sake of this video, and it's really no laughing matter. Actually, it's pretty heavy, which is why I just decided to just do this series in black and white, you guys. I've talked to so many survivors who asked me if their mothers were narcissists, and they would tell me their situations and how toxic that was for them growing up, many of them adults now, and of course with their own children, trying to heal their inner child from that kind of exposure. And it's very heavy. I'm just going to say that right now. It's a very heavy thing, and I don't even know if I can do it a complete justice in one video, honestly. I may have to talk about Unstable Mable in at least 2 videos, because it's really a lot. And I'll start off by saying that there's not one way that this will show up in your life. There's not one way like, oh, your mom is a narcissist if she's this. You know, there's just so many ways that this can play out for a person. You know, it could be that your mother had a very addictive personality, as narcissists do, and she just never raised you. She was always out in the street, you know, in her active addiction of drugs and alcohol. Or it could be that she was there with you, but she just never nurtured you, and she always put you down and used you as her emotional punching bag. You know, it could have been that she always put men before you. You know, that's very typical with narcissistic mothers. Verbal abuse, physical abuse, psychological abuse, even sexual abuse. Just no boundaries, no privacy. It could have been situations where you actually felt like the mother, like you had to mother her, because for her to be a narcissistic mom, there's some wounds and voids inside of her that are completely empty as it is. And that's why she's unable to give you the nurturing that you need, and the compassion, the patience, the empathy. Like, just like I say, there's a range of narcissism. There's definitely going to be a range with narcissistic mothers. And on the worst end, you know, these are women that kill their children. You know, that's on the worst end of the spectrum. And then we have everything in between here. When she will belittle you and not support you in your life, and actually try to sabotage your life and anything good that comes into it, because she doesn't have it. You know, there's a lot of jealousy in these types of situations. And the dysfunction just has no end. You know, you could have been taken from your mom by Child Protective Services in your childhood, or maybe her mother had to step in and raise you because she wasn't responsible enough, you know. So maybe a lot of times you get raised by your grandparents, or you get passed around in a family. And, you know, yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot going on in this type of situation for sure. This woman, and I hate to say it, this sounds a little harsh, but she could have like a bottom bitch type of energy. Like, she could be the woman that is just a welfare queen and just settles there. Like, that's it. And she just wants to maintain it, you guys. She usually has a hard time keeping a man, or if she does keep a man, he's probably very toxic with her, in which opens up a whole nother can of worms and exposure to being molested and just seeing all of the domestic violence. And then, later on, you'll have to connect the dots as to why you end up in dysfunctional relationships yourself. Yeah. She could have a golden child, or, a child that she favors more. She could be the type of mom that wants her son to be her husband. Let's see. It's definitely a dictatorship, even out of her own ignorance. There's no promoting of individuality. I mean, she feels like she owns her child. Like, this is, the epitome of, I bought you in the world, I'll take you out. Like, you're definitely something that she owns after she feels like she carried you and gave birth to you. This woman could have severe anger issues and a lot of mental illness, beyond being a narcissist, like bipolar or schizophrenia, just to name a couple. A narcissistic mom could use her kids as a meal ticket, for child support and such, and triangulate kids to try to rope the fathers in, or the father. She's definitely easily offended, and she's probably behind a lot of the anxiety that you have inside of you. If I were to just think of a word, I just said unstable, Mable, but the instability, basically, just very unstable. She may try to have a perfect image in front of others and just be a nightmare behind closed doors. Just no affection, no nurturing. And at the end of the day, I would definitely have to point out how she always has to come first, And there's a huge entitlement that we find with all narcissists. But I'm your mother, the world has to stop. And she would want you to probably give up great opportunities to grow and thrive and be the sacrificial lamb for her time and time again. She may find ways to ruin special occasions, try to make things about her, make everything about her. And that goes back to how she has to come first. This type of mom will abandon you for your victories and celebrate your failures, And her lack of support is basically more like a crab in a barrel type of thing, where there's a lot of sabotaging and elements of control. And even though she's your mother, you'll just feel like she's a taker, and it'll be just utterly draining. And it's a complete mind fuck, because this is your mother, Nature designed you to desire her. And at a certain point, you're going to have to choose your peace of mind or getting swallowed up by the toxicity of the relationship. Yeah. And most of the survivors that I talk to, they end up having to go no contact with their mother, and sometimes for life, or definitely for quite some time. And then perhaps they will deal with her with a wooden spoon, and keep her at a large distance for their own good. I've made videos about, just talking about having a lack of love in your life from the primary caretakers. And what I'll say in a video like this is, if you feel like you were in a situation like this, your challenge, or, the opportunity that you're going to be extended to in this life is to definitely learn how to mother yourself and nurture yourself. And also understand that, your biological mother isn't the only divine feminine energy that you can tap into or be exposed to. A lot of people didn't get, the loving mother that they thought that they deserve, or that everyone automatically gets. The other thing that I would like to point out in this is that is not personal. Even though you're having a personal relationship with her, it's not personal to you. Her lack of ability to be able to be nurturing and healthy and stable with you, it has everything to do with the unstableness inside of her that was there before you were even thought of. So a lot of times people take the unstable Mable and they attach to it and make it their identity, when it really was your mother's identity. It doesn't have to become yours. Yes, you had a taste of it. You came into contact with it. You experienced that relationship with her, but it wasn't your fault. So I definitely want to make that part clear. And you're not a bad person, because I know there's a lot of guilt, and a lot of people don't understand. And you don't need them to. You don't have to go around with a bullhorn, trying to justify why you had to distance yourself from your mother. And to some people, it's like unthinkable. No matter what, she still gave birth to you, and they don't understand just how toxic a narcissistic mom can be. And that's when, you have to know your truth and honor yourself at that point. And it's okay to be a private person and move in silence, as far as you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. And you definitely don't need to stay in a situation for fear of people judging you. Because I know people watch from all over the world in different cultures, are very or extremely tight-knit family-wise, and for appearances, a lot of times people don't know how to break away or do so without being frowned upon in their culture or society or their religion. But no one should have to, stay in abusive situations. And one more thing that I would like to mention before I wrap up this first video on this topic is, a lot of times people get stuck with wanting some type of closure, or wanting the unstable Mable to admit that, she wasn't the best example, or she really wasn't there, or she wasn't healthy. And a lot of times that never happens. If anything, just like a typical narcissist, we're talking about the mother, but just like any other narcissist, there'll probably be a denial and shift blaming, or, it's your fault. If you would have listened, if you were a better child, or, you chased your father away, or you were too much, you were a bad kid, or, all of these things. But you have to understand, this person hasn't done the work. And your emotional maturity is probably above theirs at that point. And it probably was a long time ago. Yeah. And it's just making me think of other dynamics, more just comes to me as I continue to talk. But having an unstable Mable could mean that some of your siblings could turn out to, be in that energy as well. Because what often happens when there's a narcissistic parent, a child will have to decide what team, they're going to be on. Either they're going to take some of the traits as the mom or as the narcissist, or they may end up being the empath. It is usually a split right there that a child will have to decide. So, but yeah, just like any other narcissist, image tends to be everything, and she'll think that she's better than she is. Even if she never did get off of welfare, never did, finish school or anything, she'll talk herself up. And even if you surpassed her like 20 times and, you were new and improved, which every parent should want, she'll still talk to you as if you're beneath her. And that's, the narcissist false mask at that point. And these children, they're just, before they understand or have the maturity to understand, they're just chasing her for love and affection. They're trying to earn it. They're trying to walk on eggshells and keep her happy when they're little. But it's just a constant rejection and abandonment. And it doesn't have to be mean physically leaving, but just being constantly denied. And that creates those complexes in your inner child that you eventually have to face. But I'm going to stop there, you guys, and, we'll talk about unstable Mable in another chapter here. But God bless you guys who have experienced this. And feel free to revisit this video to take comfort in knowing that you're not alone. I do have a support group, public and private, over on Facebook. And if any of you guys want to comfort each other down in the comment section or give some advice, you can feel free to do that. Or if there's anything that you would want me to touch on the next time that we talk about an unstable Mable, let me know down there. But once you get away from this energy, and we can talk about that more perhaps in the next video, because we're nearing 20 minutes here. But we'll talk about breaking away, and I'll find lots of other things that we can address with her. But yeah, you definitely get subjected to so much with this type of mother. And yeah, it's like making it out in one piece. That means God definitely had a plan for you. Like, she could have left drugs around. You could have been around all types of horrible people, because birds of a feather tend to flock together, right? So she just exposes you to all type of shifty characters, and just a lot, you guys. But we'll continue to talk about this, and just begin to do the work. And like I said, you can separate her toxicity from your experiences, and that doesn't have to become a part of your genetic makeup, if you will. All right, you guys, talk to you in the next video.